If you're still wondering what the hell an NFT is, Pete Davidson and the crew at SNL broke it down for us on the weekend. Let's take a look.
Now what the hell's an NFT? Apparently cryptocurrency. Everyone's making so much money. Can you please explain what's an NFT? I said, what the hell's an NFT? It's like real life Monopoly. Everyone is doing it like Gronkowski. Can you please help me make an NFT?
Non-fungible. Use a rhyme for eating Lunchables. A picture Colin Joseph's face. Very punchable. Digital images. Digimon doing scrimmages. Or a pick of a note with the Nintendo Switch. Dictionary with the pick of Fat Jerry. I made it last night and now I got $3,000.
So much fun. I'm still laughing about that. All right. So I don't know. Did you guys all get a chance to look at the full 3-minute clip on the weekend?
Yeah.
And what did you think?
Seemed pretty accurate. A lot of confusion, a lot of memes, a lot of words thrown around, which is basically what an NFT is. So I'm glad we got that cleared up, and thank you, Saturday Night Live.
Okay. I guess my bigger question here is the fact that SNL is covering NFTs. What does that guys tell you? Are NFTs going more mainstream, or is this the signal of a bubble? I know we talk about this all the time, but I really didn't expect to see this on SNL on the weekend.
I think that NFTs are really such an interesting gateway into crypto. Like, I keep thinking about all the waves people would get involved with crypto. I'm like the merchant adoption and all of the remittances and all of these things that never really happened. And then suddenly you get like artwork, and all these artists pile on, and they all, because they understand art, they know how to draw, and there are pretty simple platforms out there where you're like, you could draw and you might potentially make money. And so now you have all these like places like Saturday Night Live talking about this. I think that it's a very interesting gateway that is like aiming itself at the creative types. And it's just, I don't know, it's kind of cool. Like when you deal with the other side of the tech, it's kind of boring and dry, and I can understand why it's not appealing to the mainstream people. When you're talking about NFTs, you're dealing with artwork and fun, gimmicky things and meme culture and internet culture. So I do think that it's just more approachable to a lot of people. But throw on top of that, the people are making a ton of money. People are losing a ton of money too. Don't get me wrong. So don't just dive in. But I do think it's been an interesting gateway. Zach, what's your thoughts on like the NFT movement? When is this going to pop? Because we know it's going to pop eventually.
I just have this feeling that like the party's over. I don't know. Like I feel like we have like these subsequent like tops, and this may be like the top. And so I guess like to your point, like people are trying to get involved in this thing because it's fun, it's cool. You have a little bit of art, and hey, you might make some money when you try to sell it. Whether that's a digital basketball card or a cool thing that you saw on Rarible or whatever. And it sort of feels like I'm a little bit worried about those folks not necessarily getting the upside of that trade in the end, right? Like the moment I think of this like lavishness and excitement, around NBA Top Shot, around other platforms, is definitely feels like it's waning. I don't know if it's like because we're in the eye of the storm, but it sort of feels like, okay, we've hit the top of the mountain and it's downhill from here. And, that's probably a bad place to be for a lot of like new investors who might come away from this feeling pretty gypped, you got into the ICO bubble at the very end of that hype cycle. You probably felt pretty salty for like a few years before you were like, oh, okay, crypto, I remember about this crypto thing. So I think there is a risk of like us recreating that dynamic alongside this like surging and maybe waning NFT mania now. But I don't know. It just keeps coming. I don't know. I don't really know what to take, and I don't know what to make of it, but I'll toss it to Ben. He's probably got something smart to say.
I mean, well, yeah, like, I guess to me, like my first thought was like SNL is not a first mover in the comedy space. Generally, they're pretty late to things often. And so to me, the fact that they're talking about this now kind of shows like maybe the peak was a few weeks ago, just for them to get caught up, learn what it was, and then write a skit about it and then program it. So I don't think it's the most reliable data point. Sure, I guess it's like educational in some ways, but I think to my concern, this is a little bit like people trying to buy into Bitcoin at like 60,000 or something like that, and then getting bummed out when it like kind of settles back down to 50,000 or something like that, as in people buying in at the top and then being upset when it doesn't go, they look around and people are talking about all the wild speculation and they see these like numbers going around of like, 69 million or like the Times column being sold for $500,000. And they're like, wait, I'm going to make that money. And then when that is not met, it can kind of turn them off of this idea, particularly when we're talking about it like an NFT as a cryptocurrency, as the SNL skit did. It could turn them off of this idea altogether. So that's kind of how I'm feeling in regards to this skit. I just don't think that SNL's comedic takes are the most reliable of the bleeding edge of what's out there in the world.
Yeah, they're not usually the funniest either. I'm not a huge fan of this now, I'm going to be honest. But I actually enjoyed this one. I don't know whether that's just because it kind of hit my nerd niche, but I enjoyed it.
I will say it was not poorly done. It was done pretty well. I don't know. Have we had South Park NFT take yet? I don't think so.
I don't know. That's a great question. I want to see what they do because I like South Park's takes.